What's going on, Capricorn? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having the greatest month so far. You'll understand the dance in a second, Cap. But for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just fantastic, Cap. And it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy how yourself is brought you here. We're in for an amazing journey. And let me tell you why, Cap, because it is Celestial News Monthly. Literally just the greatest time of the month there, Capricorn. How could you not get stoked? And I feel this is going to be a really fantastic season for you there, Cap. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you all that I am open for personal private readings. So if you are curious, especially with where the planets are moving right now there, Capricorn, this could be where we can sit down and kind of talk about. I have one transit reading that goes into where the planets are in your specific houses, especially if you have like your date, place, and time of birth. That really helps with the accuracy there. Or we can talk about just specific aspects that are forming personally there. This will be more general than just like your typical horoscope, your daily sun sign horoscope. Or we can look at your chart more specifically, kind of break that down, look at it as far as placements, what are some ways we can operate in this energy, some channels that we may have been maybe over putting into, where we can kind of spread things out a little bit, learning some habitual behaviors and things along those lines, Capricorn. Or there are some links for some different tarot card spreads that I'm doing as well. So definitely check that out. All that information is in the description box below, and also in my link on Instagram in the bio section. There's all types of stuff, and I may do a little tweaking in that there, Capricorn, so stay tuned with that. So I think that's all I got for you there, Capricorn. So with this monthly spread, whenever the sun moves into a new sign, we're going to talk about where the planets are at and how we can work with the energies. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one, so take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, and never force reading on a situation, okay? So with all that being said there, Cap, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Crystals, feeling lovely. Just great energy all around here, Cap. Now, I have oracle cards here with the zodiac signs that the sun and the planets are in. I'm going to pull a few cards I'm going to pull a card for each one of them for this deck here, and then we'll get some details with the tarot. But before we jump into this thing, Cap, these readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations, okay? And in case if y'all were curious, the decks that I'm working with, which I gotta get these other two in there, I've included links for them, it's like 98% of them, down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you're interested. But also down below are some. I got a candle over here, Capricorn. Everything's fine. Hold on, Cap. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. But also down in the description box are some links for some link for an astrologer that I like watching their Capricorn. So check them out. Also, a link for some podcasts that I've been listening to. Actually, one of them's a Capricorn, so that's fantastic. And then there's some links for some apps that I enjoy working with as well. They're Capricorn, so definitely avail yourself of all those tools that you have down there. But before we get into your first card here, there are a couple of aspects that I just want to kind of get on your radar there, Capricorn, for you to check out. And I feel this can be a very beneficial energy for you, Capricorn, because both energies are going to be affecting your Capricorn placements wherever you happen to have them. But you have the first one here, which is Chiron, and the North Node are going to be forming a conjunction in Aries on the 19th of February at 16 degrees of Aries. So if you have any cardinal points, Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, or Aries, then this will be affecting you at that 16th degree. Also, if you have fire placements or air placements there as well, that's something that'll definitely resonate with you. But or if you have them at that point. But Chiron is that wounded healer. And so this energy is examining where we have been, where our like bravery has been wounded, or where we've been feeling maybe a little meek or a little less confident in order to pursue maybe our goals, or however this may be looking, where we may have put ourselves in a box, or on the opposite end where we may be kind of overcompensating for something, being extra aggressive, maybe more impulsive, not really mindful of our actions, not really seeing the source of maybe these sort of triggers that may be kind of happening there, Capricorn. So that's where Chiron is wanting to bring those things to your attention and see how they're incorporating with your life goal, as far as like who you're becoming, how you're going about this journey, you know, and looking at, am I trying to force stuff? Am I in this competition with others, or is there something that I'm doing with myself? Or am I feeling this state, feeling this frightening energy because I maybe I'm afraid of failing, maybe whatever the reason may be. I feel both are calling to this sense of bravery that Aries does call upon. It's getting back to that almost like kind of like this back to the basic type of energy, where we need to get back to that, just get to that survival instinct. That's what I kind of feel when I think about Aries energy sometimes. And it's having the bravery to face these insecurities in order to get this significant growth on the other side, to really start making some noticeable progress on your journey there, Capricorn. You know, I feel this conjunction is one that it's a pretty rare one that happens, you know. And when you look at Chiron on as far as a glyph, it's the letter K, and it's got this circle at the end. It looks like a key. And so I feel like this is kind of unlocking some things in you, Capricorn. And when the south node is in one sign, the north node's in one sign, the south node is always in that opposite sign. So these are the places where we've kind of developed this mastery, or our comfort zone in a sense, with the south node. And with it being in Libra, also doing some stuff, the same type of thing with your cardinal placements, but doing some different things with the air and the fire signs. But this is one where this is going to be some solo work that's going on here. This is where we can take the advice from others, certainly, but others can't force us to do the work. This is something where we need to take this responsibility and show up for ourselves there. You know, no one can just like force us out of bed. Either we feel like it or we don't. So I feel like it's this developing a stronger sense of autonomy there, Capricorn, and being in this, I just feel with you, it's this development of more integrity is the word that I'm coming in, but like I feel like you really just kind of, the energies have been giving this impression of we're needing to show up in the world in a different type of way there, in a more kind of bold, more individualistic type of way, especially where the things are right now. So that's something to think about, Capricorn, and how in that display of confidence, even in the face of fear, we're still going for whatever this is, this hurdle that we're tackling. And it doesn't need to be anything super massive, but this inspires, I feel like, those around us as well to do those things, or at least invites them to entertain the idea because they've seen someone in their immediate sphere doing this work. So just something to also consider there, Capricorn. But then you also have, in this next one, your rulers in the mix, Saturn, because you have the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn that's going to be forming a conjunction in Pisces on the 28th of February at 9 degrees of Pisces. And so, and with both of these, you know, you just want to see where you have Pisces in your house cusp, if you happen to have your time of birth, because the houses move, or how that station will move quite often. So, you know, this is one where you find out where these placements are going to kind of get an idea. But if you have any earth placements, any mutable placements, or any water placements, this is going to be interacting with those signatures as well. But I feel this is a really great one for some clarity for where you want to go, what direction you want to go in your life there, Capricorn, because like Aries is forming a more kind of harder aspect with you, this energy is forming a more easier type of thing. So it's like you see the challenge, you're in this Pisces energy is bringing the awareness of this challenge and what we can do and what we may need a little more work on in order to get to this place. You know, I feel like this gives you a chance to really, in a compassionate way, take an honest look at where we're at, what we want to strive for. Have we been going towards that goal? In having awareness where we may have been escaping or where we've let others kind of come in and maybe influence our directions in life here, because Capricorn energy is kind of a solitary one where it's not that you're going to be just you're doomed to be alone or something along those lines, but I feel when you're thinking about these types of goals, there's this discipline that needs to come into, and there is this self-discipline that's needing to happen when you have those Capricorn frequencies. And this is where, again, no one can really kind of, I feel like this is you embodying what you want to do without the help of others, knowing that you have that support, but I just feel like it's you doing your thing, and like, it's that sort of like, it's almost reminding me kind of like the Emperor and the Empress relationship, in a sense of like, again, it's not that we're doing this stuff where you need to isolate yourself, but there are some things where we do together and we choose to do this stuff together, but we also have that awareness that there are solo things and things that we need to maybe go off and do some meditation about, maybe go on a sailing trip to kind of clear your head, get some ideas, go by the water, whatever that's looking like for you there, Capricorn. So I feel this is a wonderful energy for you to ground some things, to really kind of set some achievable goals, to really set yourself up for success, especially when your ruler starts moving back and forth between Aries and Pisces next year. This is sort of like the foundation that you're laying for yourself going forward, but just some things to be aware of there, Capricorn, with this energy. But let's go ahead and talk about Pisces, because they're throwing a whole big bonanza in their sign birthday bash, because you have the sun that's in Pisces, Mercury's going to be entering, the lovely Empress, Venus will be entering, and then you have your ruler and Neptune that have been chilling in Pisces for a little while. But let's start with the sun, because the sun is going to be entering Pisces on the 18th of February, and that'll be at about 11:13 Eastern time. And then we'll be there through the 19th of March. And now this period there, Capricorn, is one that marks the end of the astrological year. Now we're in this time of reflection. Pisces is, you've gone through every bit of the zodiac, and this is really appropriate, I feel like, for you, because Saturn is going to be moving, he's finishing up his trek as well, going through this last sign of Pisces. So I feel this is one for you to just kind of evaluate. For you, Capricorn, if you're in that Saturn return range, when it happens, it usually happens between 28 and 30. I feel like this is a time to maybe evaluate what you've been doing up until that point. What are some things that we've been thinking about? Are the things that you're resonating with still sticking to you, or have we gone off track? This is a time to also think about what are some chapters that we need to close out, and some lessons that we've learned. And it doesn't have to be over the last 30 years or however that means. This could be just over the last year, the last 6 months, the last week, but it's just, I feel like really kind of pondering where we can exercise more forgiveness, more compassion about where we're at. Because Pisces brings about this awareness, it's that realization of that consciousness is happening. Like sometimes we can be so on autopilot sometimes there, Capricorn, and I feel like collective awareness is is raising. You know, we are getting with Pisces, all this Piscean energy, there is a heightened sense of intuition, but Pisces is that energy of, and I liked how this one book had put it. It's by Stephen Forrest. I've been really enjoying it, but, and actually I'm going to include a link for that. But when you think about Pisces energy, it's not just the mind observing the world, but it's Pisces energy is the mind observing the world. You know, that real, like, it's, they're almost kind of viewing this from your higher forces in a sense, really getting, because there is this level of empathy that is both collective but almost transcendent. You know, that is, Pisces is that idea that there is something after this, you know, there is something bigger than this, a bigger role that's playing in all of this. So I just feel like this can be a really great time for you to start manifesting your dreams there, Capricorn. And this, I feel like, leads nicely into Mercury, because Mercury is going to be entering on the, before I get into that, one thing with this, because Piscean energy is one of really, really powerful imagination, we do want to be mindful of areas where we have escaped as well, where we've been shying away from our responsibilities, or maybe been creating these sort of distractions and things from where our true goal lies, or what's resonating within there, Capricorn. So that's something to even consider. But then you have, and that even kind of ties in nicely with Mercury, because Mercury will be in Pisces on the 23rd of February, and will enter at about 2:29 a.m. And then we'll be there through the 9th of March. Now, this energy, I really enjoy Mercury in water signs, but I feel Mercury in Pisces, in particular, I just feel like there is this, because now that boundary between the conscious and the subconscious has become more porous. And I feel the flow is easier for all of us now. But again, especially the water and the fire, or excuse me, the water and the earth signs. This is very easy flowing energy and very fast flowing. So I feel this can be one where we can understand maybe any sort of like psychological programming or patterns that we've been doing, where we've been operating from some way because of some sort of unconscious motivation or anything along those lines. Pisces is it invites deep introspection, you know, then it starts to get, and that's why I feel like kind of Cancer and Pisces almost favor each other, because Cancer, I feel like Cancer is subjectivity. You know, and it's really kind of analyzing how things pop up. We're moving from outside of ourselves and really journeying within, but not getting lost in that. Reflecting on how we can show up better, how we can operate differently. And so that's what I feel like Mercury in Pisces is going to be doing for you, Capricorn, is how can we operate differently? How can we use that more imaginative energy? Still keep that practicality, but loosen it up a little bit. Be a little more playful with it. You know, really kind of indulge yourself in a way that makes sense. You know, like that's like, oh, I want to be this great rock star. Okay, what steps do I need to go for that? I may need to learn guitar. I may need to get vocal lessons. I may need to may need to find a band. How do I want to do this? Start listing out those stuff, or at least just writing these ideas, because the one thing with Mercury in Pisces is that sometimes it can be a little difficult kind of receiving those downloads and giving it form, but writing it down, I feel like, is a very powerful way of manifesting, a great practice, reminder of how to bring things from the dome to the home, you know. And actually I haven't thought about that, but we'll move it on. But yeah, I do feel like this just invites us to think a different way, type of their Capricorn. But then you have the lovely Venus that's going to be entering Pisces on the 11th of March, and that'll be at about 5:50 p.m. and she'll be there through the 5th of April. And now this is a very lovely placement for her, because outside of her sign Taurus and Libra, the signs that she's domiciled in or that she's rules, she is exalted in Pisces. And so now we have all of this, and I've been feeling this, like her her receptivity is really heightened, I feel like, in Pisces. I feel like she's, one, of course, she has this love. There's, again, that compassion, because Pisces has this capacity to, because of their imagination, can put themselves in other people's shoes and really kind of play out what they may be going through. And so I feel that this one is a great one to connect deeply with others, to mend any sort of misunderstandings if there have been any sort of things. Conversation do take on more of an empathetic and sympathetic type of flair there with Venus and Pisces. It really is this unconditional love that she brings when she's in this energy. And so, but one thing I feel, Capricorn, to be mindful is that the willingness to sacrifice yourself in one's needs for, or your needs for someone else's, making sure there is that healthy reciprocity there, that the flow makes sense in what we're doing. So, but yeah, I've been picking up this really kind of, again, just kind of heightened receptivity that's going on with this. And I was talking about it with Taurus, actually. But I feel for the earth signs, this can invite you to, again, be a little more present, really kind of tune in to that intuitive side. If you allow yourself, again, to daydream, but figure it out. It's practical daydreaming is what I kind of feel like with that. Allowing yourself to get in whatever that imaginative space looks like. Again, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's going for a long hike, maybe it's just going for a walk around the block, maybe this is in cooking, maybe this is building a fire, but allow yourself to get into that space more and see where your imagination goes. And then entertain that if something really sparks some sort of reaction. What can I do with that? Is there something where I can take that? Is that an avenue I really want to explore? Will this bring this sense of how does this make me feel? And so you're just being curious on those type of stand fronts, or on that front there, Capricorn. Then let's talk about your ruler, because the nice thing about all of this energy too is that it's all supported by Neptune, we chose a very wonderful time to be experiencing every time the planets have been entering Pisces. Let's talk about Neptune since I'm on that track. Since entering Neptune, since she's been in there since like 2011. And she'll be in there till 2025, just like Saturn, but she'll be doing some retrograde dancing too. Now, Neptune has been fueling since she's entered Pisces. She has been, in a way, I feel, allowing us to all get in touch with that sort of lost side of ourselves. We sort of had lost that awareness a little bit. And now Neptune has been, in a sense, throwing us in our imagination and opening ourselves up to these divine energies, these visions, these guides, these angels, however you connect with source, even changing up the conversation as far as like, I feel this way, or the fact that like we're comparing ourselves to more kind of our sun sign, even moon sign, even, just talking a little bit more, working through the earth more as far as like getting in touch with this, with just something larger than yourself there, Capricorn. And all of this has, because Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces, along with Jupiter. I'd have to see where Jupiter was at in 2011, but there's been this support where we're at now, with Neptune being in Pisces and Jupiter being in Taurus. This blend of energy allows us, again, to take what we have and take the tools that we need in order to learn to get this foundation, to get things started, to see what is and also I feel with this Neptune energy, this has been kind of removing the veil also, as far as like where we may have romanticized something, whether this be security in like our jobs possibly, or in our relationships, or whatever this means. And I feel that this can be one where things may be a little challenging, but I feel that if we take a moment and just take a step back and just like really just kind of analyze the situation, that it doesn't need to be, it could be some tough stuff that's going to be happening, but it can be some very healing work for you as well to make up for any sort of karmic things that we've been building up over this, we could even say since Neptune's entered into Pisces, but you know, just even over this last year, just what are some things that we may have accumulated that, and how we've been kind of shying away, again, how we've been escaping from our goals, and from, you know, where we've been maybe putting our sense of security into something and realizing that it's not as sustainable as it once was. So then let's talk about your ruler, because Saturn's going to be in Pisces until the 24th of May 2025, and he'll do his retrograde dance too between Aries and Pisces. And like I was saying, you know, Saturn is finishing up his last round, you know, in this sign. So over these last 30 years from when he was in Aries from the last time, you know, depending on where you're at on this journey, look back since then. You know, how have we grown in each way? Because Saturn is the type that he gives us a rubric for every energy that he's in. This is the lesson plan, and then we get to that final chapter. It's just like, how would you grade yourself over this time? And I feel like this is grading with compassion, especially when we're getting in this Pisces energy. This is facing the limitations where I could have, maybe where I need to dial back a little bit, maybe where I need to shelve some things, maybe where I could do more. And I feel like this could be, Saturn is always, I feel like, really supportive. He's supportive with a firm hand, you know, as far as just like, I know you want to give up. I know things have been tough. I understand, because now he's in a very compassionate energy. It's not that he's not compassionate the other times, but now he's really, I feel like, in this understanding state where, yes, things have been tough. I've asked a lot of you, but it's because I know what you can handle. I know what you want. Now it's just like, do you know what you want, and what it really takes to get there? How are you embodying that? And just you, Capricorn. This is like, again, not that you're going to not have people come with you on this journey, but it's all about, because I feel like Capricorn energy is one that no matter what you do, it's going to be recognized. You know, it just kind of, I feel like just what happens with your energy. So I feel like when people are looking, it's not that we're doing it for the applause or doing it for the opinion, it's just we're doing it because it resonates with you. Like, this is your calling. I see the steps towards this thing. This is what I want to make happen. So, and, you know, I feel with Saturn in Pisces too, this is recognizing where we may have been kind of negligent with protecting our energies. Maybe we've been putting up with something that, again, doesn't resonate with us. Again, this could be a job, this could be an environment that you're in, this could be a certain relationships that you're in, and just like really kind of coming with this, it's this, I'm picturing this interesting mix of this. It can come across as cold, but it is more so compassion, as far as like, let's say you have this group that you've been hanging with, and it's just like, no, this isn't working for me anymore. You know, this is the path that I'm going. Are you with me? And if not, that's okay. You know, that's our journey, and it's learning to let go. Because sometimes I feel Capricorn is the reminder that, because like no other sign, you know, I feel like you are a patient one. You know, like when it comes to what you're doing in your dreams, it can be a lonely trek. But I do feel like the relations that you do build along, the ones that stick with you through this, and I feel like that's too, we're getting this awareness of those who support where you're at, and really kind of taking stock of who is with you for the long haul. So, all right, Capricorn, I really kind of like that. But depending on where your Capricorn placements are at, this is forming a sextile with your sign, like I was saying, which can be very easy energy, but we want to make sure to look at both sides of that, because where something may be easy, that doesn't mean that you don't put in the work for it. You know, it's just like sextiles for me are like potential. You can have all the potential in the world. You can have this amazing, and all charts are amazing, but it's just like you could have this chart and you have these things at your disposal, or it's like having $1 million lottery ticket and not cashing it in. it's up to you what you do with this sextile energy. So just something to keep in mind there, Capricorn. But let's talk about your first card here. So this, I like this card, a card of choices, because this is lover's energy coming through. But you have the Up From the Depths card here, Capricorn. And this is a card of releasing difficulty here. And, oh, yeah, I talked your head off there, Capricorn. But this is one where I feel that this is a time to, again, just reflect on where we've been noticing there's been this dissonance, where there's been this harshness, that where we've hit these, again, I don't feel like just like normal roadblocks, but just like really hard roadblocks, where we're noticing that we're ending up in a similar situation again and again and again. And I do feel like that this energy is like inviting you, if we've been feeling stuck in these depths, this is, take this awareness that's happening from Saturn, because I don't feel like this is something where you're just going to release everything and it's just going to be just hunky-dory from there. This is stuff that takes work. And I feel like that it is getting this sense of prioritizing where, because, you know, some of the times I feel like when we think about, like, for example, problems with relationships, I feel like a lot of the times, or at least most of the times, it's not even the relationship that's the problem. There's something within that we're projecting onto our relationship. And I feel like this is a time to look at yourself with a different set of eyes, a heightened awareness. Again, I can't emphasize that enough with Pisces energy. It is looking at yourself almost from an outside of yourself. There's this healthy detachment that I feel like is happening. You're still grounded in your body, but there is just like observing yourself a little bit more and observing your interactions with others. What does this make you feel? What is what you say rises up in people? You know, just really kind of getting into that subjective type of space there, and then how do we operate objectively after that, you know? And because I feel like we can't necessarily control the things outside of ourselves, but we can control how we react to those things. But I feel like there is a need to understand these reactions in order to do that there, Capricorn. But let me get some tarot on this and get some details. Alright, Cap. Thank you, guys. Let's see what's going on here. Ooh. Huh. Ooh, and there's your ruler. I'm with it. So you have I think he's been popping up for you quite a bit, Cap. You have the Two of Pentacles, the Three of Cups, the Seven of Cups, the Queen of Cups, the Ten of Wands, the Five of Swords, and then the World card here, Capricorn. Where do you want to stand? So let's start with the Three of Cups here, Cap, because I feel with this energy kind of coupled with the Five of Swords here, and I feel like this energy has been going around quite a bit. There's this, I feel like kind of analyzing again, how are we interacting in our group space in a sense? You know, do we feel that maybe other perspectives are being heard? Are your perspectives being heard? Or are we kind of at odds with each other in a sense? Is this, I feel like when you're around, pay attention to certain groups and environments again. Do you feel that the flow is working? Do you feel that this is something that is conducive to your growth, that's helping you out the long term? Because the Two of Pentacles, this is Jupiter in Capricorn. This is one of your minor arcana cards. And I feel that there is this, and you're working for your expansion. Jupiter energy is tricky because unlike Saturn, Jupiter just gives, but he doesn't care what vibration you're in. You're just going to get an abundance of that. And so I do feel that this is, for some, I feel like in releasing your difficulty, it feels like with the Seven of Cups, we may be restricting our options with ourselves more than we think. It may be, the decisions may be kind of hard with what we need to do, whether we need to have a difficult conversation or maybe even just kind of I'm just like, even like there's this like understanding what maybe others may be thinking, but it's like taking this weight off of your shoulders. I feel maybe we've been, because in Capricorn energy is very patient. It is one that can, I feel Capricorn energy is one that can see the potential in something, but will, I don't want to say sacrifice your time, but I feel like I do feel, considering that your ruler is associated with time, the world here, I do feel that, and again, this may sound or feel kind of cold, but I feel that there's something here, that some things that need to close out. Whether this is with groups, or this could be even with certain, just take your relationships with things. Are there certain substances that we're having troubles letting go of? Are there certain activities that we're overindulging in? Like your energy is kind of coming through in a sense. And what are some things that we feel tempted in that just keep us out of our highest vibration? And Queen of Cups sitting with that, observing our responses to certain things. So the Queen of Cups for me, this is Cancerian energy. We can learn a lot from our opposite signs. You know, I think about Capricorn energy, and it is, Capricorn energy is really just kind of wild. I really do enjoy it, but you know, from where Cancer can be a very emotional sign, you know, we observe those emotions. I feel when we're working on ourselves, we do have this deep subjectivity, and we can understand how energies make us feel and how we can go about that. We need to, but I feel like there is this needing to experience this thing in order to process this growth here. But there's this maturity that the Queen of Cups is giving off, in the sense that it's not you better than the world, but in doing so and focusing on the bigger picture of things, you're helping this world in a sense there, Capricorn. But you may have some things that we just may need to just kind of keep eyes on there and see where they may have this power over us, and why we've been having this difficulties maybe releasing whatever this it may be, Capricorn. But let's get into this next energy here, because you have Mercury that's going to be entering Aries on the 9th of March, and will be there at about, I want to say about 11:03 p.m., and then we'll be there through the 15th of May. And why this extended stay? Because Mercury's going to be going retrograde, but we'll talk about that retrograde during the next season. But with Mercury being retrograde, I feel that this is lighting that fire. It's taking that awareness in this time, this introspection time that we've gotten from Pisces, all this Piscean energy, and while we're in that energy, and making that stuff manifest. And I feel for you, Capricorn, because where this is happening, this will be forming a square with your Capricorn placements, Mercury going through, and this is going to be a long square with them going through for being there for about 2 months. But I feel this could be one where we just get some things started, and then, you know, this is the time I feel like to be bold, to challenge that Aries energy. We may not feel 100% ready to get started, but let's just see where it goes. Just get it off the ground, whatever it is. Whether we're starting a new hobby, starting a new routine, a new workout, fixing a different habit, recorrecting something, whatever that is. Give that a try. And then when we get in retrograde season, then we analyze it a little bit. That gives us about a month to just get an idea where we may have gone a little overboard, where we need to tweak, and then just kind of nurture it that way, kind of trim the fat as it goes, and then watch as things kind of start coming together there. But I feel this is the kind of heat that we'll need. It's like, what do we do with this newfound awareness that happened in Pisces? You know, what do we take from the dream world, and how are we giving it fresh life now with Mercury being in Aries? And again, that may be kind of challenging, because the dreams, the imagination that Pisces does have can seem a little out of this world, can seem a little complex, and maybe a little maybe even feel a little overzealous. But I do feel like that it is worth a try. And now that we've, you know, this is, again, we're more so kind of going instinctually, as opposed to maybe more kind of logically or kind of practically, you know, really kind of trusting that intuitive energy there, Capricorn. But, and just really kind of following your heart with this one, you know, letting this be a little more heart-based. Calculated risk is what I feel kind of with this Aries, especially how they're going retrograde like this. But All right, let me get your oracle card here. Thank you, guides. Oh, interesting. All right. So, fascinating. We were just talking about that with the Queen of Cups, but you have the currents of emotions here, Capricorn, and this is uncontrolled feelings. And this is where, because listen, Capricorn, I get sometimes that like that sitting with your energies can be a lot when we're paying attention to the emotions, because emotions don't make sense. They are the things that, and they don't want to make sense. they're the things that we just have to pay attention. How do we feel when a certain situation, when a certain emotion comes up? It's to be inquisitive. It's to be compassionate. That's what Cancer is literally doing all the time. And that's why people kind of look at us a little strange, because it's just like, well, why are you so, well, because our ruler's the moon, and she really doesn't, she's putting us through how do we stay safe, and how do we feel, how do we put ourselves out there and still come with this loving, nurturing kindness when the world does what it does, and when people feel how they feel and they're not aware of what these feelings are. And then that can be, and it, what happens, I feel like overall with this, I feel that this is giving a very kind of King of Cups sort of energy, again getting that sort of emotional wisdom, understanding when you have certain triggers, when something comes up and we have a strong emotion, and learning to sit in that discomfort, let that storm come and be, because the things with emotions there, Capricorn, is that they do pass. If it only lasts as long as we entertain it, you know, as far as like how we're feeling, and that may not make a situation go away, but now that we've processed it, it's less of a burden. You know, that's now you could, the world could still be on fire, but at least we're not coming at it frantically. We've processed it, like this makes me feel anxious, it makes me feel this, it makes me feel that, but I'm not identifying with it, because then now we're getting an objective. Now I'm making it manifest. No, this is just how I'm reacting to it. You know, and it's, I feel like there is that difference, and it's just like, okay, then that gives you, I feel it kind of challenges you to, okay, what do I need to nurture? What do I need to do to get to assuage these feelings, to get where I'm feeling centered again? You know, and that's where I feel like this current is learning to ride that current, as uncomfortable as it is, and when it does get too much, to pull the raft over. You don't have to stay on that river, because that's a lot when you're dealing with that stuff too, especially when we don't have a grip on it, or don't quite have this comprehension, that we haven't established a really healthy conversation with it yet. It's fine. You don't need to tackle this all in a day. It's easier for some than others. You know, this is something that I've even had to kind of come to terms with. I have an aspect where my son is in the 12th house in Cancer, and then my Pluto's in the 4th house in Scorpio, and they form a trine with each other. And there is like self-growth for me where it is kind of constant. It is one that it is easy, it flows, when I put in the work, it flows fast. And that's something where I've had to understand where it doesn't work like that forever. I can't just be like, well, come on, I did all this stuff and I'm mad. But it took me, however, like 15 years or so to even get out of this like kind of crippling depression. So it just like, it looks very different on everyone there. But I feel like that if we can learn to not villainize them or see them as a weakness, seeing it as an opportunity to grow, understanding these feelings, I feel brings about this different sense of maturity in a sense. You know, we're not working to control, we're working with these emotions, because trying to control them is like trying to control the tide, or trying to control the waves. You can try, but you know, the universe is going to look at you some kind of way. Well, not the best analogy, but all right. Okay. Thank you, guys. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, speaking of Pluto. All right. Oh, a lot of majors here. Cap, I'm with it. So you have the 10 of Cups, the 2 of Cups, the 9 of Swords, the Fool, the Judgment, and the Wheel of Fortune here, Big Papa. And so Uranus is the Fool. I don't know if I mentioned that yet, Pluto's Judgment. But I feel with this, where are we starting? I feel this Fool card here is asking you, again, when these emotions come through, be curious about them. Figure out what's going on with them. Form this relationship. I feel with the Ten of Cups here, and I feel when you start to accept these more so kind of darker aspects, these, and I don't want to say even darker, like these aspects that we've labeled as maybe darker, as may have labeled as bad or unsavory or whatever this is, when we can come at it from a less judgmental place, even with this Capricorn, and let them become this place of, they're trying to, these messages, it's like I picture this owl being this emotion, whatever current emotion comes up that we feel uncontrolled by, is trying to just wake you up there, Capricorn, and get you to change the winds, get you to recognize that there is a storm, in that we've been trying to whip the boat every which way, but now it's like the storm has become too violent. It needs to kind of pan out in a sense. We need to figure out where the eye of the storm is. And again, instead of trying to be like storm and control the weather, control how we're reacting to the weather. Because then I feel when we get that internal release, that internal security, in a sense, then that gets you to this place of just like true harmony. You know, even when things come up, we can ride these waves a lot more efficiently. You know, we can be inquisitive. And again, it's not to say we won't feel some kind of way about them, but at least we have eyes on them now. We were able to form a different type of, have the language to understand them, as opposed to them just being this sort of unrational, you know, just unruly type of thing that just comes your way there, Capricorn. So, all right. I like that, though. Growth. This is just growth there, Capricorn. Now, let's talk about Aquarius, because you have Mars that's going to be entering Aquarius, and then you have Pluto that's going to be hanging out in Aquarius for a number of years, 20 years, as a matter of fact. And let's start with Pluto, because Pluto in Aquarius is going to be interesting for all of us. You know, I feel that there is this energy of time that's even coming, because I feel like a lot of people have been saying to me where it feels like that time is moving fast, and I feel like I feel time, I remember hearing a podcast years ago, and I really liked what this guy said. We resonated with him in a lot of ways. We eat this essentially the same breakfast. It was essentially pretty funny. But he had said that, you know, time doesn't move fast or slow for me. Time's been moving the same since I was a baby. It's just been one of those things that just is. And I feel like it's tuning into time a little bit differently there, Capricorn. I feel like that we're heading towards the future, and that's even fascinating. But I feel like that there's this, where you ever see those type of episodes or those type of shows where a really I feel like good interpretation, or a interpretation that's fitting this example, was like Into the Badlands, where there was this past energy, but we're still operating in a future sense. And I feel that's almost where the world is kind of trying to go. We're almost getting into this place of, how do we take the foundations that have happened, this connection to Earth. I'm looking at this world card, and it's just like, how do we keep our connections to Earth in how things are modernizing so much? You know, how has technology, I feel like, influenced us in a way? I feel like there are a lot of the technological advances that are coming, which have made things easier, but I do feel we need to make sure to weigh the pros and cons of that as well, but not be so overly obsessed with them as well, like to villainize them, but to see where technology has disconnected us from Earth. We've connected on a level, which is really cool, but we've become so engrossed in the phone that we don't see outside of ourselves. You know, we're almost lost in this sort of, it's a strange thing that I'm picturing in my head. Like when I was talking about that Pisces example of Pisces observing the mind, observing the world, I feel like it's like there's like another level of there, but it's denser as opposed to getting higher, that happens with with technology sometimes. And so I feel that we're in a interesting precipice where, and I feel Capricorn is a very balanced energy of this sort of like where this divide may be going, because we just got with Pluto being in Capricorn over the last 15 years. And I feel that it's like, how do we, and it's interesting when I'm getting this with you, Capricorn. It's like, how do we just incorporate, yeah, the modern, the modernity, is that a word? We're gonna go with that, to the almost the antiquity, even like tradition, opposed to like it's incorporating both, because you both are Saturn ruled. Uranus, or excuse me, you and Aquarius are both Saturn ruled. So I just feel like there's this energy of time that's really kind of playing into the factor here. Like you're not in much of a rush as you. Aquarius, I feel like, is always thinking about the future, but they have Uranus that's kind of pushing that too. But I feel Saturn is one that sees time in a different type of way. He's almost his time is subjective, or time is, I don't want to say relative, but that's what I'm getting with you for this Pluto in Aquarius. But this is going to be an energy to their Capricorn where we are, I feel like, going from this place where we need to be more involved in the world, in a sense. Like, not that you have to put yourself out there as far as like charity or anything along those lines, but I do feel like this energy of how are we showing up, you know, how are we leaving our impressions on this world? Are we just participants? Are we just consuming? You know, there's this quote that has been coming to my mind, and I'm paraphrasing, where it's like you either people talk about what's going on, there are people watching what's going on, and then there are the people that are going on, that everyone is talking and looking at. And I feel like Capricorn is one, no matter what you're doing, there is that recognition that's coming through there. And I do feel like there's this Nine of Swords, like there's this, like, what does the world think about it? And then it doesn't matter. As long as and that's where you and Aquarius are almost like very similar in that aspect. You know, there's something that you're meant to do, and we're doing it despite the praise. We're not yours, but yours is a little different, I feel like, because it is how to be in the face of accomplishment, or mastery in a sense, without the praise, is what I'm kind of feeling like here. But and then you got Mars that's going to be entering into Aquarius on the 12th of February, and that'll be at about 1:05 a.m. and it'll be there through the 22nd of March. And now I feel this is going to be one where the energies are inviting us to be more innovative in how we're going about our life, to challenge ourselves more, to push the boundaries a little bit. Because I feel like that, in a sense, almost technology has made things a little too easy, and I almost feel like that we've forgotten how to, that like what, if we're used to things being so instant, that we've almost gotten out of this where we're thinking for ourselves, in a sense. And I feel like this energy is inviting us, Capricorn, to kind of step away, break away from the crowd a little bit. Again, kind of do some introspective. What am I doing? Do the people around me, are they resonating with what I'm doing? Is this like, does this stuff really apply to me? How have I changed? Because you have changed there, Capricorn. We change all the time. But I just feel like it's just a matter of what time frame are you looking from. And I just feel that there's maybe something inside of us that's wanting to rebel. This could be rebellious energy on a collective scale as well, with Pluto being in in Aquarius. Pluto and Mars will be forming a conjunction in not too long. And that could be, and I feel like a lot of pent up things may come up to light, but I feel like a lot of that is just stuff that we've suppressed. And again, we could either project this onto other people, or we can take responsibility for our actions. And I feel like that ties in very well with where even like the nodes and stuff are at, with being in Aries as opposed to the South Node being in Libra. Taking responsibility that no one else things, and not to say that people didn't do stuff to us, their Capricorn, but how have we let that control us going forward? You know, I feel like it's kind of the question here, and that may bring up some aggression with Mars in Aquarius. That may challenge the way that we're thinking, how we go about stuff going forward. We may feel frustrated, we be with those emotions, understand them, but let's get an oracle on this, Cap. Ooh, look at you. So mindful. Thank you, guys. So you have the Conscious Steps card here, Capricorn, which is a card of considered action and looking forward. And I like that. I feel like that's you. I feel like that's a very I feel like that's very wonderful advice as far as how to navigate this kind of Aquarius energy. Looking forward, but moving with considered action, moving very mindfully of what we're doing. Not to the point where we're stressing, you know, where we're just like, and where we feel like that it becomes a burden, where we have to think about all of the things, when it becomes all too much. No. But I do feel like there is this extra layer of mindfulness that is wanting to happen here with Saturn. Again, you are in a very imaginative place. You're in a very aware type of place. You know, whether you want to admit it or not, this energy is happening. It's just how present do we want to be in this? And so I do feel that this is one where, you know, kind of, I'm getting the energy tread softly, Capricorn, but again, that doesn't have to be a warning. That can be just again, look, I feel like it's all a matter of where your head's at. I feel like going in this. You know, if we feel that there's a lot of things, because again, Capricorn energy is one that is kind of a slow burn. It's one that, but that's why I feel like, you know, your sign is such a resilient and such one of great patience compared to the other signs, because you know that it takes this work deep down, and inherently you know that it's going to take some work, but there will be this recognition, whether this be in your job, whether this be in your community, whether this be in your family, whether this be, you will be recognized, whether it be by your kids, whether it doesn't need to be a big audience. But I do feel like it is one where, consider your actions. Are you doing this before? Of course, you know, we may want to do stuff for our families, leave a legacy, provide, and things like that, but you want to provide for you first, because if you're doing this, I feel like for someone else, then I feel like if you don't like when you get to the end point, there is that awareness of time. So let's get some, you know, Capricorn, something to maybe play around with. There is this on the Time Nomad app. They have this thing for planetary hours, and there's a few apps that I imagine you can look this up on as well, but that may be something to play around with your sense of time a little bit. Especially if you find that things are moving really slow, I feel like that's kind of perfect, because then you can fit more time and more things into your day. You know, you know, it's all a matter of perspective. But maybe look into that if that's something that resonates with you. Thank you, guys. And see if there's something that you can do with this. Okay. But you have let's see what's going on here. You have the Page of Cups, the Page of Swords, the the Eight of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles. So look at this abundance. The Sun and the Two of Wands here, Capricorn. And I do feel with these pages, I feel this is you starting fresh with this. Fresh mind, emotions are, this is new opportunity, I feel like, a chance to be inquisitive with where our thoughts are at, to be subjective with where our emotions are at, really kind of bring both worlds again, this consciousness, this mindfulness that's happening here right now. And this may be something that feels a little new with how things are operating here. I feel like the Eight of Pentacles there's this opportunity for a change in routine, a time for you to examine, Page of Swords, how things make you feel, and a time to like course correct in a sense, shine some light on some things. Are we going towards what makes us happy? What are we looking forward to? Are we too caught forward into something? Have we forgotten the present because the future is happening right now in this moment right here? And it's like, what are we doing, or how are we investing in ourselves? And that's gonna be nice when we go into the next energy. But Nine of Pentacles, are we enjoying the fruits of our labor? If has this been something where you've been feeling stable, been feeling secure, been feeling that you have showed up and showed out for yourself in whatever capacity that looks like. It's not by anyone else's standards. Do you feel accomplished with where you're at? And if not, this gives you a chance, Ace of Pentacles, start up something new. Take this new ideas, these new feelings, and process them, be with them, but try not to let them cripple you. Try not to let them be where, you, because I feel there is this potential for this kind of immaturity that happens with the pages. When we're in this fresh stuff, it can be a lot. We want to be King of Pentacles like right away, but sometimes we got to go through the pages and go through the Knight phase, go through the Queens, and then in order to get to that King energy. So I feel that I got to light my candle there, Capricorn. Yeah, I just feel like this is a great energy for you to just kind of feel where the winds are changing. Get in almost like a Queen of Pentacles type of energy, and just again be more kind of, there's this mindfulness that is happening with these conscious steps that's going on. So I really love that for you, Capricorn. Now let's talk about this last energy here, which is Taurus. Actually, let's get some tea, Cat. Mix that up a little bit, and that is fine. We'll talk about, oh, there we go. Because with Taurus, you got Big Papa, Wheel of Fortune, Jupiter. I love that, Cat, because you got both of them here. Jupiter's in Taurus, and then you got Uranus that also is in Taurus. Now, Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018 of May. And he'll be in there until the beginning of July, the 7th of 2025, but he'll do a little retrograding back between Gemini and Taurus. But this has been really kind of rocking our sense of security. Really kind of, I feel like Uranus has been showing us, or has been inviting us to really question what we value, to kind of stop looking outside of yourself, because Taurus at a lower expression can be in this possessive type of energy, really caught up in the materialistic side of things. But I feel that this has been kind of asking us, and again, it's not like we're villainizing money or anything, but it's just like, have the things that you've been working towards, do you actually value them? When all this stuff is taken away, does this bring you happiness? Are there other aspects of yourself that are being fulfilled? This has been a real shift for just like people as far as like owning their own businesses. Businesses have shut down with COVID that happened. People shifting from having to work at home. There's some people liked it, some people didn't. Even just being closed off from people. We were put in a place where we were just kind of blocked out. It was like almost like forced introspection. I take everything away from you. The things that you so take for granted. That's interesting. That the things that we take for granted sometimes, that really did help us kind of face our, where have we been putting stock into, what do we hold so near and dear, and why do we hold it so near and dear? And but I feel like it's just helping us in a sense, because Uranus doesn't just bring change just for giggles. He's doing this to get us ready for the future, because sometimes with the Taurus energy, we can get so comfortable, and we could even get potentially complacent and just stagnant. in this energy and not maintaining these healthy views, this state of peace. It's like Uranus, I feel like it just wants to rock us in a sense, where it's just like, all right, we haven't built anything, because Taurus, they're a very physical sign. They are a sign of just the builders, and I feel like I just feel like this has been just an invitation, and I feel like I feel like the earth signs to really kind of take advantage of, as just just reevaluating just like what security looks like for you. What have we placed in stock? Where do we feel like we've, changed where we're putting our energies into? Maybe we're learning different ways of financing, or maybe we're investing in land. Maybe we're changing up how we're even doing about food. Maybe we're growing our own types of things now, kind of getting into this place where Uranus, I feel like it's been taking a lot, because we've been taking a lot. I almost feel like with what's going down here, and that's why some of these shifts may have been really challenging for some people, or just really for us collectively. And so now I feel like in his very unconventional kind of left field type of way, this has just kind of spurred us into a different sense of action, like really kind of allowing us to start fresh, to really kind of unearth a lot of things, for us to sow different type of seeds there, to move, to be looking forward. Is the things that I'm doing sustainable for the long haul there? What does that look like? Does this have longevity 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Now that we're just kicking everything along the side of the curve, but I just feel like this helps just redirect some things. And this also too, when I was talking about as far as like that taking in things, this Taurus deals with the environment, and I feel this too has really been inviting us to change how we interact with our earth, and we already have all this stuff with like, and we're not here to, challenge anyone as far as like where we're at with like climate change or global warming or anything like that, but there has been a shift in, because Uranus can deal with natural disasters. From the place I just moved, we had a pretty mild hurricane season, but they were talking about next year is probably going to be maybe a bit of a doozy. There's talk about El Nino and all this stuff, and I heard somewhere where it's like, the East Coast is sinking like what, every couple of inches or something every year, and it's like, it may not sound like something in the short term, it may sound minuscule, but in the long term, it's just like, that's a big deal. So I just feel like this is just, Uranus is fighting a lot, and it has been a very kind of uncomfortable place, I feel, for Taurus, just because I feel like where we've placed our sense of security has been so misguided. In a sense, and we've forgotten how to find security in ourselves when things go awry there. So then you got Jupiter that's in Taurus, and he'll be in Taurus until the 25th of May. Now, I feel with him being as far along as he is, and granted, he's like in like the 8th, I want to say last I checked, he was at like the 8th degree of Taurus, but this has been, I feel like this has been an invitation to kind of look at how we've been investing in ourselves up until this point, and where we've granted, again, whether this be in finances, whether this be in self, taking up some courses, maybe doing some schooling, or whatever this is looking like. Maybe however you've been growing. It's evaluating, have we been just doing, again, sort of these immediate fixes and kind of indulging that kind of hedonistic side of Taurus, or have we been going into that peace-seeking, that stable energy of Taurus, building that security, building that getting into that state of feeling like King of Pentacles, where it's not like he's afraid of the abundance afraid the abundance is going away. He has all he needs, and he'll give what he needs to. There's this healthy attachment, I feel like, to material things, and like to what, again, like I feel like it's because the Pentacles deal with more than just our finances. It deals with our materials, of course, our health, our manifestation. And so I feel this Jupiter in Taurus is also a reminder to appreciate the little things in life, because Taurus is one that does, again, look for peace, look for serenity, looks for things that, that is just this different level of value that provides, getting that external piece is one thing, building up your environment, getting it cozy how you want, but finding that sense of internal peace can be a lot more difficult there, Capricorn. And so I feel that this is getting out of this mind of wanting for more and just knowing that we already are so abundant. And again, this, I know we, appreciating like the roof over your head and things like that, or whatever that's looking like, but really the earth provides so much for us, and I feel like sometimes we forget that, being maybe in the city, or because you can find it in those things too, but it's just as the energy's denser there. But and depending on where your placements are at there, Cap, this is forming a trine with your sign, which again, trines, they remove blockages, that there's motion with trines, so opportunities to reestablish your values, invest in different type of ways, get some things, some long-term projects or things growing in a sense, just reevaluating what this energy looks like to you, or just really the values part. I feel it's been the big one that's been with this Taurus energy that's been going on. So yeah, let me get your last oracle card here. Alright, Cap. I'm with it. Thank you, guys. Look at that, you got a guide too. So you have the personal guide here, card here, Capricorn. And this is a card of guardian angel and spirit family. And so I feel just with how your process has gone over this season, I do feel like you are in a very intuitive space. You're in a space of heightened awareness. You get seeing behind the veil. I'm seeing like the, in like the Wizard of Oz, it's like you're seeing the person behind the the crystal ball, behind the screen, and what they've been doing behind. Like I feel like it's interacting with your guides in a different type of way, taking more intuitive steps, really learning to roll with these fluctuations, these flows and things, becoming more comfortable with these difficulties and releasing this stuff when these challenges come up there, Capricorn. And there is this, I feel like this lightning energy, how this woman is kind of holding her hands out, just like, yes, we're getting some of this, like this weight off of our shoulders in a sense. You start moving, and I feel like even as conscious steps, I feel like you'll start noticing how you're moving about this earth a little bit lighter, like as you're going through these things. It's just, there's this mindfulness, this intentionality, I feel like I've just been throwing words out there here lately, Capricorn. But let me get your last tarot cards here, so I can get you out of here, Cap. Thank you, guys. Look at that. We were talking. Interesting. You got a lot of pentacles here, Capricorn. You got the 4 of Pentacles, the 10 of Pentacles, the 3 of Swords, and the Tower card here. Let's switch back over. I feel this Tower card, this is going to be, I feel like this is where the releasing of difficulties, where the uncontrolled feelings come in. And I feel like that it's the doing that shadow work, the dark night of the soul, however you call it, just going through a lesson. And I feel for some, we're going to feel this resistance. I feel with the 4 of Pentacles maybe at first, with how I feel the kind of the world is essentially changing in a sense there, Capricorn. But I do feel that this is, especially with where Saturn is at, this isn't a time I feel like to be super rigid. I feel this is one where we're going to need that mutability that Pisces energy brings to really kind of ask yourself the bigger picture in life. When you look back at what you've been doing, I heard this podcast, and that's very interesting, that's popped up, where they were like, it was almost, they called it doing a eulogy for your business. And I know this may sound a little morbid, Capricorn, but I feel like it's like when you look at your life and what you've done, and when you know, if you were just kind of lying there, last moments, are we proud of what we've done? And at the end, it doesn't matter how big that looks, but do we feel like you showed up, that you brought what you could, or were there even some ways I feel with this Four of Pentacles that we may have held back, or where we may have limited ourselves, or maybe have been restrictive, or maybe hadn't put in the work for any sort of growth or anything, may have been operating from a place where that needed some healing or something along those lines. But I do feel that this Tower here, Capricorn, just with where things are going, this could either be we could be riding a tough storm on our ascent from the depths, because I do feel like that'll happen regardless. But I feel it is going to be, are we going to walk up the stairs ourselves and maybe trip a little bit and maybe stumble while we go, or are we going to rush, fall, rush, fall, rush, fall, you know, like, it's very interesting. And I feel that too, yours first has gotten, like, I think the Tower and that's interesting with Mars and Pluto being here. You know, and I don't think I mentioned this with you. I feel with both of them kind of being in Aquarius during this season for a little bit, I feel like it is remembering to channel for that higher octave, because Pluto is the higher octave of Mars. And I feel like it is going beyond that just base sort of instinctual response there, that survival instinct that Mars is, that drive. It is thinking a little bit differently with that, a little bit broader, where it's like understanding the root causes behind those instincts, those broad, putting in that shadow work, that shamanic work that Pluto asks for, in a sense, meeting these dark corners of ourselves and finding the nuggets of wisdom and diamonds that are in there for you, Capricorn. So I like that. I think I'm gonna leave that there, Cap. So if you enjoyed that, Capricorn, give it a thumbs up. And share this, Capricorn, if you know someone who's been just kind of having troubles releasing something, been just kind of been feeling stuck, been feeling guarded, whatever that's looking like there. And, you know, maybe some feelings that we haven't learned to deal with. You know, maybe need to get in touch with spirit guides, or, yeah. But I do feel like you got a lot to look forward to there, Capricorn, for sure. And then subscribe there, you Wheel of Fortune. Hit that bell button, you world. Hit that bell button to get notified on all these videos each week. Well, each month now, because I think I'm going to make or I'll do a post as well, but with the personal readings going as they are, I needed to open up a little more time into myself, which I had foreseen that happening anyway. But I love Celestial News Monthly so much, so, because I'm not like this, I love this channel, both the channels, so I'll be doing the monthly readings on here still, and I'll be doing the yearly ones as well. But as far as the weekly downloads, I'll probably switch that up a little bit. I have an idea of what I'm going to be doing, but it's still kind of formulating in my head. I need to sit down with that and get that figured out. But I'll probably release more sort of like soul tribe, collective type of energies and information, as opposed to like specific weekly types of things. But I'm still be doing the monthly ones, supplying as much information and getting those more jam-packed as things go on there, Capricorn. And also too, yeah, definitely, book a reading with me if that's something where you want to learn how to work with your energies. Maybe some of these uncontrolled feelings and things, maybe where your Chiron placement might be at, the wound that's needing healing. You know, maybe there are just some certain things that yeah, we can do a deep dive into this, Capricorn. Maybe there's some aspects that are kind of forming, that have been just operating in. You know, it's fascinating when you get to learn this stuff. I have a Sun Neptune opposition in Capricorn. My Neptune's in Capricorn, and my Sun sign's in Cancer, and they're at like a real tight opposition. But I'm learning to work with them differently, and I saw where I was kind of operating more in. It was a mix. I was more so kind of operating in the sun space, for sure, and I was harnessing kind of the negative aspects of them. But now I've kind of learned to work with them a little bit differently, and it's still work, Capricorn energy. But yeah, but it's it gives you a new way of getting in the flow of your energies there, Capricorn. So definitely all that information's down in the description box. But last little thing, if you have any Cancer in your placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Chiron, Saturn, come on over to the Chariot, friends. I do videos Monday through Friday there. We discuss lunar shenanigans, and I do tarot card spreads based off what sign the moon's in, what phase she's in, and it's a great old time, Cap. And all that housekeeping is down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards here, so I can get you out of here, Cap. And you got the Four of Swords here. And I feel with all of this energy that you may be going through here, Capricorn, because I do feel that, and I'm laughing because I do feel like it's like at the end of this, that's how you'll be feeling. It may not feel fun at first, but it will, I feel we'll be able to understand the growth afterwards and why we needed to go through this thing. But I feel in this, making sure just to take adequate times to rest. Going through this growth and doing that shadow work, it's exhausting. And sometimes you do need to take a break. Sometimes we can take on too much. So, you know, make sure to pay attention to what your body needs as well, as far as like food, water, rest, all of that type of stuff there. Getting outside, whatever, you know, just taking care of those needs and being, just kind of tuning into the vessel there more, Capricorn. But let me get your other oracle card here, so I can get you out of here, Cap. All right, Cap. Thank you, guys. Love that. So you have the Inner Freedom card here, Capricorn, which is the Death card energy here, 13th card. And I do feel that it is kind of asking yourself, where have we, you know, these uncontrolled feelings, you know, that's restriction on freedom, you know, this releasing difficulty, whatever things we may be holding on from the past, or maybe even some things we're clinging on as far as like the future, you know, that's where in a sense we're restricted our sense of freedom. And now I feel like this energy is challenging this change when we're dealing with this, because talk about that Death card, you got both their rulers here, Mars and Pluto. So it's like with these things that are being brought up, what actions are we taking? You know, how are we, almost like what I was talking about with Taurus, how do we find that serenity within? Outer peace it's a little difficult, but could be achieved, you know, we can get that space, but how do we get that internal side as well with all of the uncertainties of life, you know, with all the opinions of where things are going and stuff? How do we stay calm? You know, how do we find that eye of the storm, you know, and find that calm? So I feel like this energy is asking you to free yourself up there, Capricorn, of any sort of pressures that you may have put on yourself, as far as like, where, again, be compassionate, meet yourself where you're at, and just allow yourself, Capricorn, I just feel like a huge weight is just coming off your shoulders, but you have to give yourself permission to let that off, you know, to let that off there, you know, and to figure out what it is your true calling, because maybe there's been this pressure because, again, we've been restricting ourselves in some type of way, and now we need to be patient with ourselves. It may not make sense where we may want to be why everyone else seems to be, but I'm still here. Because you got something great there, Capricorn. I feel like Capricorn energy is there's just always something really impressive that's cooking up there. And I feel like it's not, you know, but I do feel like it is one where it is a solo type of journey. You know, people, again, can give you advice, but what you do with that advice and the support system that you have, how you show up for that when you're at your highs and when you're at your lows, do you feel supported in that? And being mindful of how your relationship with others as well there, Capricorn. But I'm with it. You stay safe out there, Capricorn, with all this energy here. It feels a little tough, but you got it, Cap. I believe in you always. I'm going to keep kicking with you along the way there, Capricorn. You got a nice spirit family here always. And you raise your vibration through the roof to Saturn. Absolutely there, Capricorn. And I will catch you on the next one. Later.